Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. If you like making money, maybe even lots of it, this is the channel for you. Click subscribe, give me a thumbs up for the content. So, I, I I'm seeing this everywhere in the comments section. I think it's overtaking about half of the people. Well, maybe not half, but a lot of people are voicing their concerns. It says, I'm getting worried. The deflation scenario is really starting to make sense to me if all the tech and general is going to correct. What's to stop the mining and metals and energy again, just like last time and the time before? Well, yes. Okay, why are we crashing? What is the driver of the crash? So, why would tech crash? That's the question, right? What is the driver of a deflation? So, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's a leveraging up and then there's a deleveraging on the backside. That is what causes major crashes. So the major crash, if you were to step it back every single time to see what the root cause or the driver of the crash is. So we have this crash, let's say 2008, we have this crash. What was the driver of 2008's crash? What was the housing market, right? And it took everything out. The real estate market took real estate out. It took the stock market out. It took everything out, right? Now, what about the one before that? You know, remember what the crash? 1980, there was a crash. That's when that crash ended. And it was the beginning of a bull market in stocks. So it's a leveraging up on the boom side and a deleveraging on the backside. It's inflation. You can't have a crash and have inflation in everything, because in a crash, by definition, you're defaulting on things, and a default means that you have deflation. Now, the debate, at least the where I think the debate is what are the drivers of inflation and deflation? I propose that it's real estate. And if you were to look at why does real estate increase, then I propose it is a demographic. So you have to have population that increases in home buying years to increase real estate, which will increase inflation if you have an increasing population in home buying years. We have an increasing population in home buying years known as the millennials. They're right in prime home buying years and when they're going to start families. So we're right there. And we've got a real estate market with a shortage. It has a deficit. So that deficit and the population demographic coming through is going to push real estate higher. Now, when you push real estate higher, it's going to be inflationary. And the reason I say that is that we've never seen a deflation in an expansion phase of real estate. Never. We've never seen a blowout crash because we're leveraging up. And a crash, by definition, is a deleveraging on the backside. So I don't know where these people on YouTube, I don't know where they got their data. Now, Harry Dent, I understand, he's been saying like we're going to have a crash for the past 10 years every single year. There's going to be a crash. There's going to be a crash. There's going to be a crash. 10 years. Has there been a crash? I don't know if he's been right. He said it every single year. It's like saying commodities are going to go up every single year, year after year after year after year, and eventually you're going to say you're wrong. Like you just say it every year until the one year comes, and then you say, oh, you're right. I don't think there's going to be a crash. I honestly, and even if there is, it doesn't matter. You're buying things that are at 100-year lows. It'll be a short-term little blip. Now, show me a time in history where the dollar has gone up substantially for a 20, 30, 40-year long period. It hasn't. Now, I show you guys charts after charts after charts, ratios, all these things. So what you're saying is if we have a deflation, that all of those charts are wrong, you're saying that the entire market is wrong. Harry Dent is saying that yields are wrong. The entire bond market, they're all wrong. We're going to have this deflation, but yields aren't declining. They're going up. Then he's saying the dollar going down is wrong. Then he's saying that the pound to dollar, dollar to Swiss ratio, all those ratios, they're all wrong. They're all going in the direction of commodities and a weaker dollar. So those are all wrong. Then you've got the platinum to gold ratio. Well, that's wrong. Silver is outperforming gold. That happens in inflationary environments. That's wrong. Well, how much more do you need to have be wrong? Look at real estate prices. They're going through the roof. Is that wrong too? So is his view and all these deflationists, are their view right and everyone else is wrong? They're all wrong. Every single piece of data. I don't even have a piece of data that actually goes against a commodities boom coming. There's not one. I can't find anything outside of maybe unemployment, but unemployment's not a driver of inflation. Real estate is. Demographics is, and the supply demand of real estate. Unemployment's not the supply demand of real estate. Right now in Colorado Springs, we have 5,000 buyers for less than 300 homes. That is insane. That's like 12 buyers for every house that's in inventory right now. And we're getting multiple offers on every single house, and they're gone in hours, unless they purposely hold them open to see how many offers they can get. Homes are going for $50,000 to $60,000 over asking price. Some people are getting pre-loans to put cash offers down on houses so they get the house in case the buyer says, well, maybe they won't get a loan because they're offering $50,000, $60,000 over the asking price. And if they do that, sometimes people, they won't get the loan because they say, oh, it's the whole scenario is jacked. That's how jacked real estate is. I think it's going to be highly inflationary. Now, I did overlays on the Fred housing starts, which is new home builds, and then I put the valuations of commodities over that, the housing starts, to show you guys that in expansionary phases, with commodities being cheap at the start of the expansionary phase, has always resulted in a commodity boom. That's why I gave you that information. What you guys are worried about is the path of getting to that higher price. The path does matter because it's going to be an emotional roller coaster ride. Now, if you never looked at your account where you own stocks, you just didn't look at it, and all you looked at were the housing starts, and you said, okay, I'm going to look at two things: housing starts and commodity valuations in relationship to stocks, that ratio. If you took those two things and you took everything else out, you didn't look at prices, you didn't look at your brokerage account, you didn't look at anything, and you just looked at housing starts and valuations, and you track that day after day, and you notice that the housing starts continue to go up, and you track that the ratio is compressing against stocks. That's all you need to look at. Everything else is just noise. Now, you can listen to all these people on YouTube. I'm sure they have opinions. Everyone has an opinion. And a lot of the ones that I've watched, I disagree with. And I watch a whole bunch of people. I watch the George Gammon. I watch XYZ. I watch Harry Dent. I watch Peter Schiff. I've watched Michael Oliver's really good. I like Michael Oliver quite a bit. I watch what's his name? Igor Gantz or something. Igor. He's actually pretty good too. I think he's very similar to me. But everyone else, like me, Kevin, I'm like, I don't agree with his. We're not going to have a housing crash, and we're not going to have all that stuff. You can't have a housing crash when you have no homes to sell and there's a bunch of buyers trying to buy it. I just don't see it. I'm not in their camp. So what I propose is, if you were to watch housing starts and you were to look at the ratios, if you see the ratios compressing, if you see platinum outperforming gold, if you see silver outperforming gold, and you see commodities outperforming stocks, and you see the housing starts going up, everything's intact. You don't even have to do technical analysis. The movements are all just day-to-day movements or month-to-month movements. You're going to have pullbacks. You're going to have some sell-offs. But the underlying force for those commodities is going up. It's going to push them higher. So I know you guys are worried about deflation. All I can tell you is look in history, educate yourself. Because what you're doing is you're letting other people influence your emotions. And when I became when I turned from a crappy investor to an exceptional investor, and I did it in like one shot, is I didn't listen to anyone else. The only people I listened to were those who I thought I could learn from. And there's things that you can take, little snippets from every person that you can take. And then what I did is I back tested it to history. And I said, okay, does what they're saying, does it make sense? Does it jive with history? And a lot of it doesn't. I'm like, well, how the hell are you going to have a deflation if you're in an expansionary phase of real estate? That doesn't make any sense. Inflation, you have to answer, where does inflation come from? It doesn't come from prices. That's impossible. The CPI, the way they write it, it is impossible to have inflation that comes from prices. If this goes up, then this must go down if you have a constant money supply. The only way everything goes up is if the money supply goes up. Therefore, the money supply going up is inflation. It doesn't matter about prices. So if the money supply going up is inflation, how do you get the money supply to go up? Oh, look, real estate. When you make loans into real estate, this money supply goes up in an expansionary phase. Back tested to history. The Fred housing starts never had a recession with an expansionary phase of real estate. Never. I mean, you can, when interest rates rise, you could have a technology sector pull back or go sideways for a very long time, which had happened in the dot-com bubble. We're probably going to have a bubble in technology again because the valuations are through the roof. They're way up there. Of course, they're going to have to pull back. Could it affect? Sure. But you know what? If I can make 100 times my money versus a 30 or 40% pullback, I'm going to take the 100 times. I don't care about the path. I don't care. Give me the 30, 40% pullback and I'll buy cheap shares. You guys are worried about the path. I'm not worried about the path. I'm worried about missing out on 100 times my money. I want to retire in 5 years. I'm done. I am done. I know my vision. I know where I'm going. You guys, I mean, some people, they can flounder around. You can keep your money on the sidelines. That's up to you. I'm not telling you guys what to do. If you don't feel safe, keep your money in cash. Keep it in cash so you feel safe. For me, I'm going for it. I don't care. And it's not reckless. It's not, I only have a 15, 20% of my entire net worth in stocks anyway. I'm not going 100%. My physical metals and my swapping is a large portion of my net wealth. So I'm going to swing for the fences. And the time that you swing for the fences is when you have 100-year low commodity prices and every single metric that you measure a commodity boom by is aligning for a commodity boom. It's like, this is the time to go. I'm in. I don't care. Like, I don't care what Harry Dent says. There's going to be a deflation. Where? Show me in real estate. And then if it's not in real estate, tell me why. Some person who makes $10 an hour or $15 an hour or whatever doesn't have a job that would never buy a house anyway. How is that going to affect inflation? It's not. I don't know. That's my take on it. If you guys have a disagree, leave it in the comment section. Give me a thumbs up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.